Hello, my name is Katherine Bassett. I'm the CEO of the New Jersey Tutoring Corps. I am delighted to be here today to share some information about strengthening the skills of our youngest scholars through high-impact tutoring. For this session's agenda, we will answer the questions, why mathematics tutoring? Who is the New Jersey Tutoring Corps, Inc.? What do we do and how do we do it? And what is our impact? I'm going to start by sharing the zones of regulation with which our tutors start every session that they conduct with our scholars. We refer to our students as scholars. It sends a different message, different words, very important. As a librarian, I value the power of words. So we start and end every session with these zones of regulation. Today, I am in the green zone. I'm happy to be with you, and I'm proud of the program that I'm going to share with you. Why mathematics tutoring? If we look at the results of the NAEP assessments in 2022, we see that our math scores declined in grade 4 by 5 points, taking us to a low that we haven't seen since 2005. And similarly in grade 8, declining by 8 points, taking us to a low not seen since 2003. In New Jersey, our state testing, our NJSLA 2022 data showed that 64.6% of our state scholars were not grade level proficient in mathematics. I find that frightening. In addition, our educator preparation programs are seeing a decrease in the enrollment of young people choosing to go into teaching. We also have a teacher retention problem. So how will tutoring help solve these issues? The New Jersey Tutoring Corps was founded in 2021 by First Lady Tammy Murphy, the Overdeck Family Foundation, and the Community Foundation of New Jersey, with a focus on closing academic gaps. As our program has grown, we are not only focusing on closing academic gaps, we are also focusing on increasing the SEL skills of our scholars by growing their confidence and their joy in terms of learning. We are an organization of educators. We serve scholars in our highest need districts in the state of New Jersey, and we work with scholars in pre-kindergarten through grade 8, tutoring in both math and literacy. An auxiliary component to our program, our key focus, of course, is on increasing our scholar skills, but we are also focusing on growing the educator pipeline in our state by bringing more educators into the profession and retaining those excellent educators already here. A quick overview of our program. We have 3 program models embedded during the school day, after school, and summer. We have over 42 partner locations, over 400 field staff. Our field staff consist of tutors, site coordinators, and instructional coaches. And to date, we have served over 7,500 scholars. We do have state funding. This year, our state funding was increased to $1.5 million for the 24 fiscal year. In addition, we are funded by philanthropy partners and by a fee-for-service model in which schools and districts pay us to work with their scholars during the school year. During the summer, our community partners do not pay us, our Boys and Girls Clubs and Y Alliance partners, and that is why that state funding is so critically important. This is an overview of how we are funded. So district contributions, philanthropy, and state contributions. Those state contributions are critically important to our work. Who are we? What do we do? And how do we do it? We are a high-impact tutoring program, which means that we follow the Annenberg Institute's recommendations for what a good tutoring program looks like. On the screen, where you see words in a color, those words refer directly to components of the Annenberg Institute's recommendations. So group size, we have very low ratios, 1-to-1 up to 1-to-3 tutor to scholar ratios. The same tutors work with the same scholars throughout the course of our program cycles. Our personnel are diverse and passionate educators, including pre-service educators, paraprofessionals, in-service educators, substitute educators, and retired educators. A key point to keep in mind, high-impact tutoring is not homework help. It is not pushing into a classroom and serving as a teacher's aide or assistant. High-impact tutoring is focusing on the areas of growth that we discover in each of our scholars through diagnostic pretesting and aligning the lessons that we deliver to those scholars directly to the areas where we see that they need to grow. We work with educators who mirror the racial and ethnic makeup of our scholars. I mentioned our 3 program cycles. Frequency, we work in 30 to 60-minute sessions, depending on how much time a partner is able to give us, 3 to 4 times per week. So that is a significant amount of tutoring time. Our materials that we use in tutoring are aligned to standards in our state, standards nationally, and our curricular materials focus on action. We are actively working with our scholars using math manipulatives, the Overdeck Family Foundation's Fun Factor program, which is very hands-on, and we use technology devices at all of our sites for all of our tutors, site coordinators, instructional coaches, and during diagnostic testing for our scholars. Our 3-tiered staff model includes our site coordinators, who are responsible for overseeing site logistics, making sure that all staff and materials are on site, that all technology is functioning appropriately. Our site coordinators hold bachelor's degrees and have managerial experience. Our instructional coaches hold teaching certificates and have teacher leadership experience, particularly in instructional coaching. We use a modified Danielson model focusing on criteria 1, 3, 5, and 8 in the Danielson model. Our coaches observe our tutors several times per week, and at least once per week, they do a one-on-one coaching session based on their observations. Our tutors can be pre-service, in-service, paraprofessionals, retired, and substitute educators. They work directly with our scholars. We have a central vetting and hiring process that we use, and all of our field staff, tutors, site coordinators, and coaches hold their New Jersey fingerprint clearance and their I-9 clearances. Our assessment and teaching framework focuses on checking what we know about our scholars. What do our scholars know? What is their knowledge base? What are their foundational knowledge and skills? And we obtain that information by doing diagnostic pretesting. Planning and teaching based on what we know our scholars know. So based on those foundational knowledge and skills, we devise a learning plan for each scholar. This is highly individualized and personalized to each of our scholars. And we use a scope and sequence based on the curriculum that we use. The curriculum primarily, in most cases, is based in iReady. However, if a partner organization uses a different curriculum, we use what they use. We use instructional groupings based on foundational skills, and we record all of our information in the iReady dashboard, unless, again, our partner is using something else. And we are continually checking what our scholars know. We are doing that through formative assessments, using things like exit tickets after each session, doing that SEL check after each session, and then at the end of a program cycle, using diagnostic assessments again. We have our pre-diagnostic assessment and our post-diagnostic assessment. So we are collecting that diagnostic data throughout the course of a program cycle. We are also collecting SEL data through a series of surveys. What are our program results? In the last program cycle for which we have our program data, which is our school year 2022-23 program cycle, our math results show that our scholars grew from a baseline of 16% of our scholars being grade level proficient in mathematics in kindergarten through grade 5 to 40% of our scholars being grade level proficient in mathematics at the close of our program cycle. On the screen, you can see each of the grade level results, and then on the right, you see a chart or a bar graph that shows you the grade level results for each of our grades with which we worked, kindergarten through grade 5. And again, that overall growth going from 16% to 40% grade level proficient. At the close of each cycle, all of our data, both quantitative and qualitative, is given to an external evaluator, and it is our external evaluator who reported these results to us. In addition to those quantitative results, we use surveys to collect qualitative feedback. We survey our scholars in grades 3 and up, our site coordinators, site instructional coaches, tutors, our site directors, who are the direct program content for our partner organizations, might be a principal if we were in a school setting, at a Boys and Girls Club or Y Alliance setting, it would be the site director for that program. And you can see here that 85.4% of our scholars in our most recent closed cycle reported that they understand math better as a result of our program. 93.2% told us that they enjoy working with their tutor. 83.8% told us that they are more willing to help their friends in mathematics. And almost 79% told us that they will participate more when they return to their regular classroom. You also see on screen some quotes, one from a PreK scholar who told us, "I love math. I want to be a math teacher when I grow up." And one from one of our site directors talking about what they observed in terms of our scholar growth and the professionals working in our program. Our tutors told us 90% believe that they observe scholar growth, 90% believe that they themselves have grown professionally, 87% were very satisfied with their role, and 93% believe that they've made a difference in the lives of young people. We have a 71% retention rate in terms of our field staff, and 40% plus of our field staff are non-white. These are some of our field staff members from that 2022-23 program cycle. Some closing thoughts. What makes our program so effective? Those small groups and big relationships. In a small group, meeting several times per week for a minimum of 30 minutes per session, we are building strong relationships. Our tutors are working so closely with those scholars. Again, same tutor, same scholars throughout the cycle. They're really getting to know the scholars. The scholars are really becoming trustful with our tutors. They believe that our tutors have their best interests at heart. Our tutors use an asset-based mindset model in working with our scholars. That means that we are focusing on what is there, not on what is missing. We are focusing on the strengths that we are seeing in our scholars, and we are constantly providing positive feedback. Our staff are extremely well trained. They experience a full week of training before they ever set foot on a site. In addition, training continues throughout the program cycle with those instructional coaches providing that constant feedback to our tutors, and our staff, our internal staff, providing constant feedback to our site coordinators and instructional coaches. We focus on continuous learning for all of our staff, both field staff and internal. And we have built extremely strong relationships with our partners being those schools and districts and those community partners with which we work. With our schools and districts, we co-design programs So working with schools and districts, we are designing what will this high impact tutoring program look like in your school, in your district. And all of our staff truly are mission driven. They are passionate about what they are doing. They believe that they can make a difference in the lives of our scholars. And that is why we see the impact that we see. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate what you are doing on behalf of scholars throughout our country. Thank you so much. I see some questions in the chat. When do you give training to your staff? So our staff are trained for a full week, the week before a program cycle is supposed to start. And we then offer additional training throughout that program cycle. So for example, in one of our program cycles recently, we realized as we were in about our second week of the cycle that we needed to really stress again the importance of organizational culture and how to build a positive culture. And so we brought that group aside and we provided additional training on that topic. Our instructional coaches are constantly providing feedback to our tutors. We are constantly providing feedback to our instructional coaches and our site coordinators. The training is a week long, so it's from 4 to 7:30, 5 days a week. And we cover topics including the curriculum that we are using, engagement, organizational culture, organizational structure, tutoring skills, professionalism, everything that a tutor, site coordinator, instructional coach needs to know before they go live on site. Our instructional coaches and site coordinators receive additional training in leadership skills. I see from Emily, any thoughts on how to bring something like this to a small one school district? Emily, we do work with small one school districts. And again, co-designing the program with partners, we work out together. When would be the best time for us to push into classrooms if it's embedded? If it's after school, how are we going to make this work so that parents picking children up are not going to cause them to miss a tutoring session, or buses coming late are not going to cause scholars to miss a tutoring session. So working very closely one-on-one with our partners, we are able to custom design, co-design a program with partners. I see from Eden, I was curious about curriculum. Do you create your curriculum in-house? Is it connected to iReady or is it something else? So we do use iReady when a district is amenable to us doing so. And when we do use iReady, we use their tools for instruction, their teacher toolbox. On occasion, we use their MyPath personalized learning, although we use that very seldom. We are working in those small groups, 1-to-1 up to 1-to-3. We augment our math curriculum with a program called Fun Factor, which is offered by the Overdeck Family Foundation. You can find it online at Bedtime Math, bedtimemath.org. It's a wonderful program. Bedtime Math is designed for parents. Fun Factor is designed for teachers. So that is an incredible asset to our math curriculum. If a district wants us to use their curriculum, we ask to be trained in their curriculum so that we can train our staff in that curriculum. Who gives training to your staff? We have 2 master trainers who are former teachers. They are still teaching, but they are no longer teaching in P12 classrooms. They are professionals in terms of designing professional learning, and then members of our internal staff provide training on our program. External consultants provide training on social justice and social emotional learning skills. So we use a variety of people to provide training, but our master trainers actually design it. I see a question, is it daily coaching? What are the hours? Again, we custom design programs with our partners. So typically we are doing, so I think you're asking I'm going to stop myself because I think that this is a question not about tutoring, but about coaching. So coaching occurs 2 to 3 times a week. Our coaches observe each tutor at their site, and once a week they provide one-to-one coaching to those tutors. So observations several times a week. Observation data is collected, it is analyzed, and then the coach uses that data to provide one-to-one coaching to each of our tutors using that modified Danielson model. I think I've answered all of the questions that are in the chat. And I see a comment, that is one secret, well-trained and vetted field staff. Absolutely. I could not agree more. Training is so critically important in programs like this. And then vetting the field staff to make sure that they are meeting all of the state requirements, all of the district requirements. If it's a Boys and Girls Club or a Y Alliance, all of their requirements. In addition to the training that we offer, we also offer training through our partners in detecting signs of abuse or neglect and in safety. So as a tutor, what do I need to keep in mind to keep my scholars safe, to keep myself safe? What are some things that I do and don't do when I'm working with a scholar? Because our program is face-to-face, it is not virtual. Are there any other questions that I can answer? These were great questions, by the way, and I really appreciate your asking them. What are the hours? Typically, we are working with our scholars 2 to 3 times a week, 30 to 60 minutes per session. So we are typically on site doing tutoring between 15 hours a week up to 29 hours per week. We cannot go above 29 hours a week. Is there anything else that I can answer? I really appreciate your questions. I really appreciate your interest in this topic, and I'm very grateful for what you are doing. Thank you.